Yeah, I want to go over something that's actually a common question. Should you get 12-point sockets or 6-point sockets? I want to say 6-point sockets. I've actually had no problem with these 12-point sockets ever breaking. These were actually, I don't know when I got these, in the 90s or the 80s. Probably, I think I got them in the 80s, late 80s. Yeah, late 80s. These are some Taiwanese brand. They were like a name brand, but made in Taiwan. Forgot the damn brand. Usually if you get something foreign, Taiwan is better than China for the most part. USA is the best most of the time. You know, I buy USA, but I don't buy everything USA all the time. It's kind of unaffordable, you know, in some ways. But and I'm going to tell you the best deal on all stuff right here, right now for your applications. For 12-point sockets, you know, some people say, yeah, they're light duty use or something, but what normally your advantage is that they're a little thinner, and sometimes you can get into areas you can't with a thicker 6-point socket. Now these by Stanley, Chinese made, but these are about the only Chinese. There's a couple Chinese ones. I got these for just keeping in my car versus using work. Sometimes I work on my car with these, but I got them as an extra cheap set to keep in the car. I got a set for each car actually. You know, to get USA ones for each car, it'd be like several times as much money. I think these are like $39, $49 or something. Pretty cheap. They're not cheap though in quality, but these are 6-point sockets, and these are still pretty thin wall. They seem to get into areas pretty good. Now, I'll tell you one other advantage. I'll tell you this though. If you're getting tools, I would get 6-point sockets first, 3/8 drive. And instead of getting a 12-point socket set, I would get a 1/4-inch drive with 6-point sockets like this. Because the 1/4-inch drive, one of the main advantages you have with the 12-point socket is you can get into some places where the socket just doesn't fit on there. There's like there's a bolt head or something that's against something, and you just can't get the damn socket on there. So you use a 12-pointer. I don't know why they make engines like that or why they do stuff like that, but that's just how it is. But if you have a 6-point 1/4-inch drive, especially a good one, I would recommend, especially in a 1/4-inch drive, you can get away with pretty much doing anything on an engine with a 1/4-inch drive. I know, like my friend who was like had his own body shop for years. I used to work with him like 40 years ago for about 3 years or so. Part-time when I was going to school. He actually he used to use 1/4-inch drive for just about everything, especially the body parts, the body panels and all those self-tapping screws. You can't get into areas that good with the 3/8 drive, so I would get the 6-point 3/8 drive first. In this case, you got, you know, these damn things are snapped in here tight. You know, some people bitch that these Armstrongs are in here loose, but as I use them, I'm like, these Stanleys are a pain in the ass being here snapped in here so tight. But these have the 6-point 1/4-inch. That's why I got them. Plus they're easy to read. That was another thing I thought was pretty cool. These are easy to read too. But the other thing is, a 12-pointer, here's another thing where you can use a 12-pointer where you can't use a 6-pointer. A lot of times you have these bolts that are like semi-rounded off, and yeah, you definitely would want to use a 6-pointer of the proper size on there. But say it's a what would you say, a 5/8 or something, right? You might be able to hammer, you're not supposed to hammer sockets on, but you might be able to hammer on like a 15mm, because it's like just below a 5/8 of a 12-point. So sometimes you can stick on a metric on you know, it's like a one-time use just to get it off, get the bolt off, and then once you get it off, you freaking replace it, or use a Dremel or something and grind it down to the next size if you really can't replace it or something. But you know, sometimes you can't, the bolt head is like rusted away, there's nothing there. So in that case, a lot of times what I would do is, say it's an SAE bolt, it's a, you know, it's a 1/2 inch or something, think a 13 millimeter is a little bit bigger than a half inch. So maybe the half inch, you would try to get it off with the half inch 6-pointer. The 12-pointer on a rusty bolt would really be screwed up. It would just probably round it out really bad. But you might be able to hammer on a 12 millimeter on that half inch if it's really that far gone. You know, you might be able to hammer it on there with a 12-pointer. So, and you know, there's other things you could do besides. You could actually stick a piece of metal in here, like a little piece of tin or something from a, you know, coffee can, beer can, and hammer it on there. I personally like the 6-pointers a lot better because, like I said, if it's such tight quarters that I can't use a 6-pointer 3/8 drive, I just go to the 6-point 1/4 inch drive. But I have found uses for these 12-pointers. So I have a 12-pointer set here, and you know, I use it quite a bit. I never broke any because these are quality. But you're definitely better off with 6-point sockets. And like I said, don't get 6-point. You know, if you're getting stuff in order, you would get 6-point 3/8 drive first. And also, this, just as a tip too, I use this freaking wrench more than anything. I don't know what the hell brand this is. No idea. I think I got it from AutoZone or some shit. Probably their brand. It never broke, man. I put pipes on this thing and everything. I mean, I had pipes out. I had like the not these, the little extensions, but I had like the 10-inch with a 6-inch 3/8 drive in a deep socket on the end of this, and I was like torquing the shit out of it. I used the hell out of this thing. Whatever the hell this thing is, it's quality. But I like it because of the swivel head. So sometimes I gotta get in there, and I could put something on here about that long, and sometimes you need this angle. These other things, this one's nice too, though, but this has the same design because of it's nice and small. It's nice and low profile. But I could tell you what's wrong with this bitch. I actually had to hammer it to fix it. You know, and that's what tells you about the quality. See this ball release thing in here? This wasn't even machined right where this ball release was working. When I put a socket on here, it would just fall right off. And you know, that's the disadvantage of buying some Chinese-made stuff. But I figure it's good enough for throwing in the trunk of my car. But I'll tell you one thing: if you don't have a ratchet set and you don't have money to buy something like really expensive, the Stanley Wally World freaking sets, they're pretty good. I don't think they'll freaking fall apart. I pretty much torture tested these things already, and I haven't broken any of them yet. It comes with quite a bit for freaking, says it's lifetime warranty, but I don't know about that deal. I can imagine going into Walmart telling them like I broke a socket. They'll freaking look at you like, you know, what do you mean? You got to go back to the manufacturer and pay $20 mailing cost or something. I don't know. But hopefully you got something out of this video. If you're just buying sockets, don't even bother with the 12-pointers. They're not really light duty. I never broke any of these things, but they can round off bolts. And like I said, the main advantage is to getting in some tight areas sometimes. Sometimes these are a little thinner wall. You could just slide them in there better. But then, again, some of the 6-point sockets is really, they're pretty thin. And you got 6 points you're grabbing on that nut versus it's holding on to that bolt or that nut a hell of a lot better. And, you know, it's something like this you're probably okay with. You're pretty complete with this because it's got the 1/4 inch drive, it's got the 3/8 drive, it's got the deep socket, it's got the shallow sockets. The only thing I would add probably is this swivel thing, even though I think it might have, maybe it don't. Yeah, I know they got these bullshit things like these swivel, these things are okay, but I found this to be far more useful. The swivel head on the freaking ratchet, far more useful. And I like the American made the 1/4 inch drive because you'll notice they go a little bit bigger. The reason is the American-made 1/4-inch drive is stronger. You'll have a 15 millimeter socket and a 9/16 socket with this Armstrong. That's an Armstrong, US made, right? When you're getting the Chinese ones or some of the other inferior ones, you go up to a 14 millimeter 1/4-inch drive and a where the hell is it? Somewhere around here. Maybe we don't even have one. This is, it probably doesn't even have one in here, maybe. This is like a weird socket set, the way they got this shit. Like I said, you get what you pay for, pretty much. But this isn't too bad. I mean, I've seen some other ones. I'll show you some other one I got from Walmart that was called I'll show you what it is. The shit broke real easy. Yeah, this is not a 1/4-inch drive. Usually the 1/4-inch drives, they won't, if it's a lower quality set, they won't have a 9/16. And I can tell you one thing, a lot of times you'll use this 15 millimeter or 9/16 in that 1/4-inch drive in tight spaces. It is extremely handy. And you could put, I put, like a lot of times I did, this with this. Made a little extension handle on here. You're not supposed to do that shit, but I never broke nothing. These are quality tools, man. See, it's Armstrong. I'll put them on here for leverage, like that. Now I'll show you something that is total junk. That's in Wally World. That's Chinese made, and I broke 3 or 4 of them just taking apart a lawnmower, man. Which was the sheet metal on a lawnmower. It was like total garbage. So I'll show you something to avoid. This brand I would totally avoid. This is a Walmart Chinese-made tools, Ultra Steel. Man, I haven't broke the ratchet yet. Seems okay, but I already broke. You see 3 sockets, 1, 2, 3, without even trying. On a lawnmower, man. A couple of them went on a lawnmower. One went on to some trim piece on a motorcycle. And I thought I was breaking open the bolt, and I hear this snap, and I'm thinking, well, the bolt snapped open. No, the freaking socket cracked. So I just got this for $10. I figured, well, $10, maybe I'll use it for real light duty shit. It says it's handy because I don't have to go into my toolbox. I just leave this on top of the workbench. Waste of money. It's handy for maybe taking off plastic trim. That's about it. It's junk, man. So. But I have used this Stanley for some pretty heavy duty shit. I don't like stuff made in China. Like I won't buy vice grips anymore from what's Irwing because they sold out to China. But sometimes if you got such a freaking good deal, and let me put it this way, it's not like you're buying some freaking stupid video games or some shit or some fluff. You're buying something that could possibly, be a little bit useful, that you get some utility out. You really can't buy, in other words, if you're getting, if you're giving some money to China or something, at least you're doing something in the United States with this tool, right? That's one of my logics to it. But I pretty much avoid a lot of the Chinese stuff for the most part. I do, when I go to stores, I actually will not buy something even if it's Chinese. And sometimes I'm on a border whether I want to buy something, and if I see it made in the USA, I will buy it. Another thing I think is a great tool is the channel locks. The channel locks, actually, they're freaking better than the vice grips in many cases. They're made in the USA, channel locks. But anyway, just want to tell you about this stuff because you can get away with some of this Chinese stuff, but it's, well, I don't know, I'm not going to tell you have to go buy freaking USA shit. I mean, some people, it's expensive, man. I didn't feel like spending like a few times as, sometimes stuff is 3 times as much money to buy a USA socket set. I don't know what this cost. I forgot. It was $39 or $49. I forgot. But if it was USA, it'd probably be at least $100 easy. I figured if it's something I'm just sticking in the car, that's all I'm using it for. But point is, stick with the 6.3/8, and if you need thinner wall sockets, get the 1/4" drive. I would lean to getting a 1/4" drive USA brand because they got a little bit bigger socket in it. They got a 15mm and a 9/16, and that does come in handy as all hell. Believe me, these are made in USA. I like this set. I use it all the time. Yeah, note that some Stanley stuff is made in USA, like these toolboxes. I get these because they're made in USA, but you know, if they're made in China, I wouldn't have got them. But you know, just look around, because sometimes this brand is getting associated with made in China, but not everything Stanley puts out is made in China. So, you know, a little bit of effort to the USA side here and there definitely makes an overall big difference, and they will take no.